Welcome to Tapestry with Miriam on Fusing Channel. As we celebrate Black History Month, we have decided to celebrate selective women and young women. This evening, we are very glad to be speaking to the amazing Cassidy Little, a young lady that is very passionate about kids reading and learning. She's a member of ASCAC, the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. Thank you so much, Cassidy, for accepting to have a conversation with us tonight. Happy February month. We want the viewers to know about you all the way from the U.S., Washington. Who is Cassidy Little? Can you tell our viewers who you are?
Definitely. So first, thank you for having me, Miriam. It's literally an honor to be here, to even be considered to be interviewed, and I really appreciate it. So again, my name is Cassidy Little. I am 25 years old, and I'm originally from New Jersey, the southern New Jersey area. I earned my bachelor's degree at Delaware State University in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and now I am a member of ASCAC, which is an organization dedicated to African American studies and developing a consciousness based on ancient African culture, spiritual systems, and their civilizations. And that's how I ended up here.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And the last time that I saw you, you were presenting at ESCA conference, which is part of that is Akobin, for the conference that they held. You presented a very good piece, and it's called "The Kids Ain't Reading." I wanted to know because it was really nicely done. What was that process? How was your preparation? And how did you what was that objective to just start doing this as young as you are?
So, when it comes to inspiration on the topic, that came pretty naturally just through my own observation and reflection on my generation's efforts towards consciousness and developing in their spirituality. It was pretty clear to me that although my generation does have a very strong interest and openness towards these topics, that interest isn't really yielding the impact that it should, because many of us are not doing our due scholastic diligence when it comes to educating ourselves on these topics. So, what I mean by that is a lot of us are getting introduced to concepts when it comes to social consciousness or spirituality through social media, and we're learning about these things from a thread on Twitter or a video on TikTok or a video on YouTube. And we're kind of just taking it at face value and assuming that, oh, okay, now we're knowledgeable on this topic, and we're not doing any further research. But that further research is necessary to truly be knowledgeable on these topics, and not only be knowledgeable, but be able to put them in effective practice and start to change and become better and change and make the world that we're living in better. And so after I got the topic, I basically just wrote down what I believe, did some research to support my beliefs. We did a couple practices, which was really good for me because, like I said, I graduated in 2019. So it's been a few years since I did a research project and a presentation. And then I just presented and I gave it my all.
Very well said. And yeah, because when I listened to you that day, you were talking about these topics and what are some of, apart from the reading, the kids and reading, and it's such a good motivational topic to even present to the young people and even the community itself. It's very important for us to understand that as well. But what are some of these topics, some of other topics that if you've just enlighten our viewers that are within kids and reading?
Right. So, first thing that I want to say is when I say the kids aren't reading, that's kind of what I feel as though the older generations would say about our generation. So, when I say the kids aren't reading, I'm talking about people around my age. Yes, I'm talking about the youth, like actual children, but I'm just talking about the younger generation as a whole. And I feel like we are a generation where we consider ourselves very knowledgeable about things because we have access to so much information, but we don't really know anything in depth because we're not doing that research. So I kind of want to make the message it's not necessarily just about, oh, kids don't read books, but overall, we don't go into depth about things. We are the microwave generation. So we want things quick, fast, and convenient and easy. And I feel like we take that approach to a lot of things in our life and in our society where we actually should be taking the time to slow down, do our due diligence, and, really go into depth and work through things. So I feel like overall, our kind of aversion to putting in that extra work and that extra legwork is a major issue for my generation. But I feel like it sort of translates into everything that we're dealing with. I know a huge issue in my generation is our lack of self esteem and self worth. A huge issue is our financial insecurity. And a lot of us are dealing with anxieties about our future, our
Yes.
financial future, and what our future is going to look like as a whole, considering things in the economy, things like that. Um, Another thing that we're really struggling with is we're still dealing with a lot of violence. And that's not only just physical violence, now it's verbal violence with all the online and the cyberbullying, things like that. We're struggling with anxiety and depression at alarming rates, more than we've seen in the past. So these are all issues that we're dealing with.
Yes.
And what I think is the root cause of it is just us not taking the time to truly understand what we're dealing with, not taking the time to hear what those that came before us have to say and the advice and the resources that they have to offer that. And that's why we're not able to sort of conquer these social ills that we're dealing with.
Great, great. And when you talk about, you mentioned something about, we are when we go into depths of things, for example, financial knowledge, and all these things, even cyberbullying, just to know what the internet is all about. It's not just everything that you're gonna put out there. And I love the fact that you, as a young person, you've taken that time to actually read through these things and understand the usage of it all. And when it comes to something like financial, we have to be very strong to understand those things because we do have anxieties for sure around that. And that's some of my strengths as well as an accountant by profession, to make people be aware of where they are and what they're doing about their finances. Now, when it comes to that, how do you intend to create awareness around your this initiative? Is an amazing initiative and I love it. Have you considered collaborating with organizations or just other people and to let them know what you're doing? It's an amazing one. And I didn't know about it here in Canada. I know maybe in the United States you can tell us what you're doing.
Right. So again, I am a new member to ASCAC, and this presentation that I prepared, The Kids Aren't Reading, is something new that I'm working on. But I think exactly what you said, by partnering with organizations. A lot of my peers in my social circle, they know me to be a person that speaks out about things. They consider me to be the woke friend or the woke girl on their timeline. And what I found was is a lot of times I will have these thoughts and these ideas and these causes that I will find worthy enough to share. And I might go on a Twitter rant or make a couple posts on Instagram, but it wasn't really yielding any impact. And I think that's because my reach was limited to my followers and those that I knew in real life. I didn't have that broader reach. So that's why now I'm trying to work with organizations like ASCAC that are going to give me a platform and extend my reach, or platforms like yours, like Fuse with you,
Yes.
because more people than I personally know will be able to hear this cause that I'm passionate about and hear my point of view on it. And I think that's where it starts. And from there, it's just going to snowball and grow bigger.
Definitely, definitely. That's amazing, and I'm just smitten by that as well. Black History Month is because we are celebrating you for doing what you're doing. We are celebrating women like yourself as well. So Black History Month is a month that we celebrate our highs and lows in our communities, what we've done, what things and that we talk about sometimes, and what we have encountered on a daily basis in our community. How much of Black History month should be out there as an awareness? And should we even be talking about it? Or should we even have this Black History Month be introduced in schools?
I think absolutely we should have Black History Month introduced and talked about in schools. It should be talked about just widely because Black history is world history. There's no way around it. There's no ifs,
Yes.
ands, or buts. The world that we live in today would not be the same without the presence of melanated people. So it's very important in that aspect. But I guess my only critique of it, of Black History Awareness or Black History Month, would be how it's currently being handled. I'm not sure about in Canada, but I can just say personally from living in the United States, Black History Month these days is almost like a joke. I teach an after school program, and I'm shocked that still today, their biggest concept or understanding of Black history is just about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. And while those are important figures in our history, that's what we were learning when I was back in second, third, fourth, fifth grade. And it's not reaching any further than that.
Yeah.
They're sort of just keeping it there. And to me, like I said, at this point, it's almost like a joke and it's just a formality. They include it just to say, okay, we did our part. We talked about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, but like I said, we're not really going into depth about the impact that melanated people have in this world before we were even considered Black. And I feel like if we were getting educated, if we were introducing the world to, Nubia back in the days and ancient Egypt, Kemet, Timbuktu and the
Yeah.
Mali Empire, things like that, then I feel like it would hold a much greater impact and we would actually start to see something come of it. But currently, I feel like again it's just a formality, but it definitely is important, and I would like to see it change because I feel like if real Black history was taught, it would make all the difference. It would almost be transformative for this world that we live in.
Very well said. And I think that just to add on what you're saying, I have the same concern because even here it's the same thing. Like just talking about the same thing, and same thing is like reading the Bible when you're suffering, and somebody comes and tells you that, oh, just even Job suffered the same thing, and you're like, okay, we have to make sure that when we are celebrating our Black History Month, we are looking at the daily and modern things that are happening right now to our young people and even to all of us, things that happen on a daily basis. And we have heroes of today that we can talk about and make sure that that's because it's just like we are using the old template that we cannot revise, and we just put it there. So I think that it's important for us to have modern things and really talk about that. And we have to talk about the past and make sure that the children learn and learn the history. The history is very important because you cannot go anywhere without having your past, knowing your past, so to say. So that's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you bring up a very good point, and I think that that's important because sometimes, have you ever come across people that would say that, why are we celebrating this Black History Month?
All the time. And it's unfortunate, but it's because I feel like the way Black history is being presented to them, it's redundant and it's taking away, the significance and the meaning of it. And I feel like, that's done purposely, unfortunately, and intentionally. in order to take away the importance of it. And what you just said was an excellent point. I know I said that it's important to talk about Black history beyond just slavery and civil rights, but what a lot of us don't realize right now is we are in the middle of Black history being made. We have so many young Black people that are
Yes.
achieving amazing things, like Quinta Brunson, the creator of Abbott Elementary. She just won her
Yes. Yeah.
Oscar.
Yeah. Oscar.
That's
Yeah.
Black history. Those things need to be highlighted, and I feel like they're just kind of being overlooked because we're not really understanding what we're witnessing and what we're experiencing. So definitely we it has to be deeper than just Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. And then even then, if you're going to be talking about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, tell the entirety of the stories, you know? So I'm definitely on the same page with you with that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. The other thing I wanted to, within the Black community, there's that diversity, and we have, people from Africa, continental Africans, and diasporans who are African diasporans, like yourself, and myself also. But I was born in Africa, and we do have Caribbeans. We do have different Black people within the Black community, and sometimes we do have some misconceptions against each other and all that. Have you ever come across that? And have you ever asked yourself sometimes about those misconceptions?
Absolutely. Where I'm from in New Jersey, it's not a very cultured area. We pretty much only have, American Black people. We don't have a lot of other cultures like Africans or people from Haiti and things like that. So that's kind of something that I've been introduced to recently through my friends that are from big cities that have a bunch of cultures and now living in DC. They have a really high African population. But diaspora wars are a topic on Twitter every day. And I know it's like, okay, it's just on social media, but you got to understand a lot of our generation is living in social media.
Yes.
So it's definitely something that I've heard before. And it's definitely something that's unfortunate. And I would say, as far as the misconceptions that exist within the diaspora, I would say that there's two main ones that I personally see. And obviously, the first one is that somehow we are different in the sense of not being equal. A lot of us don't understand that we're all Black melanated people. The only difference is where you are on the map and what
Yeah.
language you speak.
Yeah.
That's really it. And I feel like if that misconception was kind of laid to rest, that would lead to a lot more unity within a diaspora and ultimately, us being empowered. And I guess the second one would have to be this false sense of arrogance or superiority within a diaspora. You have a lot of African Americans who think they are better than Africans. Africans think they're better than African Americans. Dominicans think that they are better than Haitians. And while it may come off as, oh, this group is arrogant, this group thinks they're superior, I think what we really need to do is look beneath the surface and understand that as a whole, us as melanated people, we are a deeply hurt and insecure people. And we struggle with the ideas of self-worth. And when we're kind of tearing each other down, although it may look a certain way from the outside point of view, we're just hurt and we're trying to affirm ourselves and we're trying to establish some sense of self uplifting in a world that has done everything that it's done to tear us down. So it's kind of like, the bad or misbehaving child where it's like, oh, he's bad and he's this, but really he just needs attention. Really, he's just hurting and doesn't know how to express himself. I feel like we need to give each other a lot more grace, and we really need to understand that a lot of the conflict within the diaspora is just a lack of self-worth and understanding who we truly are. And it's just us trying to figure it out and do the best that we can.
That's really great. And you've touched many, many things that I was actually thinking about, even have a conversation with you on that in terms of divide. Because I was thinking, as we talk about these misconceptions, the number one culprit is the divide, because that divide that happened long time ago, and everybody goes there this way and that way, and the Africans remain in Africa, and some people remain. There's also those systems that have laid that cause for, in Africa, you see there's colonialism, and then you come to to Europe and in America, it's slavery, and so it's just different forms of systems that oppress people, and also just kind of those things have divided us, because then we come here sometimes, oh yeah, you can't speak good English, but you have a culture that you are holding on to, and you feel like, yes, I cannot speak that, but I do have my culture that I follow, and you don't, and all that. And you bring up a very good point where you say that if we all just realize that and come together and whatever, we can actually work better together, make sure that we can achieve things that are very important. So some of the things that I wanted to talk about also is that as a young person, you've gone, you've talked to different people, and your friends around, and even what you're doing. Have you received any negativity from within your friends about what you're doing?
I and no. And the reason being is, like I said, I just recently joined ASCAC because I just restarted my journey when it comes to developing in my consciousness and developing in, my sense of spirituality. And the reason being for that is because I was kind of discouraged. Like I said, a lot of people consider me the woke girl now, but when I was in high school, oh, they hated me. A lot of people felt like I was kind of overbearing, or I was kind of crazy, just because I was so passionate about educating myself and sharing the messages that I felt were important. And I actually did get some negativity. I remember I was in a group chat with my friends, and they kind of was just like, ah, I miss the old Cassidy. Like the new Cassidy is too much, I guess, talking about the woke Cassidy. Um, and at the time, I wasn't that affirmed in myself. And I cared so much about the acceptance and what people thought. I kind of turned away from educating myself and turned away from that conscious path that I was going down. And like I said, that was in high school. So it's taken me a while to want to get back excuse me, get back on that path and put what I find important and what I'm passionate about at the forefront of my life. And now at 25 years old, I'm back there, and it's important to me. And I know that this is going to give me the change in my life that I want to seek. So at this point, I'm not really too concerned in what people think, because I feel like if I share my message, whoever's meant to receive it will receive it. And whoever isn't, I can't do anything about that. And you asked earlier what sort of prompted me to want to put in this effort and
Yeah.
start this, and it really was just my desire to do better and be better. When I first joined ASCAC, I didn't really know exactly what I was looking for, but I felt like I was suffering and I wanted to go deeper into my spirituality. And I felt that my way out and my salvation would be, learning more and developing my own sense of spirituality. And now here I am. And from there, I always believe in you have to be the change that you want to see in society. And although I know it may not be the cool or the popular thing to do, to sort of be going down the super conscious road, if I want to see more of that in my generation, I can't be afraid. I've got to do that deep dive. I've got to go all in, and I've got to be that person so that when my peers see me and they see the positive changes in my life and they see the enlightenment that I've found, then they'll be prompted to do the same.
Wow, well said, Cassidy. I know time is running out, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming. But before we go, what do you want the viewers to know about you in terms of where they can find you, how they can read what you're writing, and your social media handles, something like that. So if you can just talk to the viewers.
So I am still developing my social media platforms. So I'm going to get back to you on that one, but I can be reached via email at Cassidy, B as in boy, little at gmail.com. And my email's open. If anyone wants to work together, I'm, open. You just contact me on there and we can get it done.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our viewers. This is Cassidy Little, once again, the initiator of Kids and Reading. I love that. And I just love that. And this is Tapestry with Miriam on Fusing Channel. And we are so, so happy to have you here today and tonight, sorry, and speaking to you. It's been wonderful. And I love your work. We appreciate you. And we want you to continue to do what you're doing, and more young people can look at you, and you're an example for that, and we really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for coming to our studio tonight. Bye, Zoom.
Thank you so much. This has been great. This was super fun. And like I said, I'm just honored that you would even consider me for something like this. So I appreciate it. And you've definitely motivated me to go a little harder and do better in what I'm doing. So, like I said, I'm taking notes, and I guess we're both making Black history.
Yes, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, and have a good night.